Hello and welcome to Catholic Unscripted. I'm Katherine Bennett.
I'm Mark Lambert.
I'm Gavin Ashenden.
Well, you've heard us speak about our upcoming retreat in Ireland, 11th to 13th of October, and quite a number of you have booked tickets already, and there are just a few more available, and we're so looking forward to meeting you there. But a number of you have also emailed to say that you live in Papua New Guinea, Australia, or circumstances mean you can't get to the talks, but you really want to be there and listen to the programme that we have set up. So just today on our website, we have placed a link for you to purchase access to those talks. So do please visit our website, catholicunscripted.com. You'll see on the homepage two options. One is to attend the retreat in person, and the other is to purchase a link so that you can look at those talks in your own time, at your leisure. There are still places, aren't there, Gavin?
I notice you're calling it both a conference and a retreat, and so you should. I prefer the word treatference.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why we'd love to see you there is because we've found in the past when we've done this twice before, in one form or another, and it's very often the personal conversations that arise afterwards that in which the depth and richness of the event partly lies. So there are two ways of accessing it. One is you're not excluded because you can't get there, but if you can get there, there's a richer experience, a richer dynamic to be had. And apart from anything else, it also allows us to meet you, which so you'll forgive us if we say we'd like to meet you, and that we get a great deal out of doing this together. This is our faith is an incarnate faith. There's something about being physically present in places.
And Mark, perhaps you'll tell us about what you'll be contributing to this retreat, and then Gavin, and then myself, so that you know what it is that you'll be purchasing and what is the content of our talk. So, Mark, what are you going to be bringing to this retreat conference, treatference, as Gavin likes?
Well, I'm going to do a couple of talks. One of them is going to be looking at Vatican II and the hermeneutic of continuity. So to try and help us understand the challenges that we see in the church at the moment, which is often a source of concern for Catholics, and have a look at are those concerns valid? What the council was actually about, what it taught, and different ways that we can look at it today. And then the other talk is about common objections to the faith and looking at ways that we can easily overcome those objections to give us confidence in what we believe and what we profess. And it kind of that talk gets a bit personal, doesn't it? And looks at some real life experience, and especially with regards to sort of bereavement and stuff like that, and the way that we can deal with that. So I think it was, hopefully it'll be useful for people. But as you said, we've found in the past that when we get together, there's something unique happens, and it's really great to share that, because one of the big things that we're trying to do is build community with this. At the March for Life, we had loads of people coming up to us saying, it's great that one of the things that Catholic Unscripted achieves is it means that people don't feel alone. They feel part of a community. So it's a great way for us to connect. And obviously having remote access just facilitates that connection even more, and it helps people to connect even if they can't be physically present. So I have to say I'm really excited about it. I'm really looking forward to I really enjoy the retreats. There's obviously the opportunity to be with Bishop Alphonsus as well, which is something really special. He's a great bishop, and everyone who's coming will have access to Bishop Alphonsus, as well as the sacraments, Mass. We'll be able to pray together, talk about our faith, talk about the positive things and any concerns we've got. So it's in a beautiful place in the the beautiful south of Ireland. So it'd be something really, something I'm really looking forward to going to. Yeah.
Yeah, and for those who are purchasing a link, we will give you links to all the talks, but I'll also do a live recording of some of the other elements of the weekend, so that you pick up a sense of what it's like, a little bit of conversation, a bit of our social time, just little bits and pieces. So an addition to make, and also, of course, a tour around the grounds, so that you, though you can't be there, you have more of a sense of being there. And there's definitely, Mark won't say this in all humility, but he said he hopes his talks are valuable. Absolutely, and I'm sure Gavin would agree. Your talks are incredibly powerful, Mark. They're very, as you'd expect with Mark, incredibly well researched, and you draw on your own personal experience, which is so moving. And there's definitely a providential element in all of this. And we found in the retreats that we've done in the past, we never know who's coming. We don't know the people coming, and there have been connections made over issues in our lives that have been. There's no other way to explain it, but that God is directing this.
Providential.
So
yeah.
Absolutely providential. So Mark, your talks are incredibly valuable, incredibly powerful. And what we hope with all the talks is that people go away and are able to take from them a sense of being strengthened in their own faith and able to go out in battle, be able to say, actually, through those talks, I feel more confident now in defending my faith, and are able to go out into their own communities and so that it spreads. But Mark, your talks are fantastic, and Gavin, yours also. Can you tell us a little about what you hope to be speaking about at the retreat?
Yes, I'd like to put it in a broader conceptual context too, because I think one of the things that Catholic Unscripted does is it covers the basis of the faith from different perspectives. So it's almost like, to do church. We do church in three ways. They all begin with C. Mark does it with the courage of a cradle Catholic, and it's very important that we should have a voice that speaks authoritatively from within the church's tradition and within the stability of constant discipleship. Katherine, you do it with the contrition of a Goth come home and someone who's repudiated feminism, and the contrition of the wandering Catholic is deeply moving, because there are a lot of wandering Catholics out there. There are a lot of people who have wandered themselves, and to see the very persuasive way in which God's worked through your life is enormously moving. And you look at the faith through that particular aspect of the sort of the eyesight, the glance that you have. I'm a convert. I'm spiritually, as a Catholic, I may look decrepit, but I'm by far the youngest, and I come with all the enthusiasm of a convert. And so I'm going to be talking about two things. First of all, my love of Our Lady, and one of the ways in which the apparitions have been absolutely essential in making me a Catholic. I'm always surprised at how little known they are by some Catholics, and how astonished people who are outside Catholicism are by them. And again, although it sounds that we're trying to get you to come, we're not at all. What we will hope is that the Holy Spirit will provide just the right people for the right place at the right time. Those are the marks of the kingdom of heaven, the right people in the right place at the right time. So just please pray. And if you sense the Lord is coming, well, then come. That's how we put the thing ourselves. The other thing I want to do is I want to give a developed version of a talk that I'm giving at the Catholic Life Conference in Pittsburgh, which is about the dark gods being back. This sounds a bit esoteric, but essentially, Europe was converted from paganism by Catholic monks. And do you know that story in the Gospels where Jesus says, if you drive the devil out and you don't guard the doors, he comes back with 7 more problematic spirits? That's the history of Europe that we have now. And we want to talk about the return of paganism and why the Catholic Church is so important in resisting the paganism that we converted Europe from, and why this is an essential moment in the history of the Church, the history of our civilization and our culture, and why being a Catholic is such a powerful thing to be at this juncture.
Excellent. Mark, I think you've had 3 or 4 C's at various points: confident, competent, courageous. I'm always
Cradle.
Just contrite. Yeah, cradle. I'm the contrite ex-goth.
That's because mouthy doesn't begin with C. That's why.
Charming. See what I got to work with. Thank you. Yes, it's true.
Cacophonous.
It's a nice. It's a nice way to sum it up. Contrite is good because actually, as Gavin says, that's exactly the story. I fell far away from my faith, though I am a cradle Catholic. So I will talk a little bit about that and weave it into my talks, which are really focused on our human sexuality. As you will know, and as you will probably be tackling with these issues in your own lives and communities, we are at a time where we are so far removed from reality that we can no longer really define what man and woman are. So I will focus in my talks on, first of all, some history, a background to how we've got here, and then what the future looks like, what might be an antidote to the position that we're in now. And I'll be drawing on the work of Alice von Hildebrand, of Gertrude von Lefort, of John Paul II, and Benedict XVI, and a number of others. And I hope those will be valuable to you. I know from previous talks we've done, thanks be to God, that many people came up afterwards and said that it was. So we've very intentionally looked at a programme that we feel will be really edifying, really helpful, and give you the information and that you're able to go on then and share it with others, and hopefully it will give you strength in this battle, this spiritual battle that we find ourselves in. So thank you both very much. Courage.
And I've come up with two more C's that are nicer.
I was worried about that.
Nicer than cacophonous. So charming and clever, as well as contrite. How will that make up for?
That makes up for it. You know, it doesn't take much. Thanks, Gavin. So do please visit the website, catholicunscripted.com. Take a look and see if you can pick up a ticket to come to the retreat. There are a few places left. They are going quite quickly. So if you can get in touch with me on info@catholicunscripted.com and express your interest, then I'll be able to reserve a room for you. And for those of you that can't come geographically, circumstantially, whatever the reason, do take a look at the link option and book yourself a link to the talks, which will be sent to you alongside a little wander around and a taster of what it's like to be there over the weekend. And that's it, I think, isn't it, guys?
Yep, as long as you don't do your live broadcast outside my confession booth when I'm heading in to
I promise you one thing. That I learned something very interesting just yesterday talking of that. I was at confession yesterday, and then I had a lunch with a friend, and he was telling me that if you overhear confession, you are also, as somebody listening, what we know the priest is bound by canon law not to speak a word of it. But if you happen to overhear, you are also bound. We discussed whether that was on pain of excommunication. We weren't sure, but it was while we were talking about confession at the Oratory and laughing about, well, anyone who's been to confession at the Oratory in London, it's quite open, and sometimes you have to shift yourself to make sure you don't hear anything. There was a friend was telling me about a time she confessed to a priest who was slightly hard of hearing, an elderly priest, and she said, I've been unfaithful in my prayer life. And he said, you've been unfaithful with who? She said, I've been unfaithful in my prayer life. Does your husband know? So I promise no recordings outside confession.
I wasn't worried so much about the actual details. It's just that I didn't want you to pick up the priest saying, you did what?
Exactly. Exactly. I'm sure they've heard it all before. Right. So thanks for watching. We'll be back soon with another Unscripted. But for now, I'm Katherine Bennett.
I'm Mark Lambert.
I'm Gavin Ashenden.